Okay, this is the file for the assists. It's pretty simple. I've pulled the data, and the data tab has the listing, and the player is the player who's shooting. The assisted by player is the assisted by player, and then it's the makes. And then I've got a pivot working here that you can select a player, and this is set up to this is set up in order to look at the shooter and see who assisted him. So, for example, if you wanted to look at Roy Hibbert, you want to turn off all of that, look at Roy Hibbert and say OK, it'll do it, and it automatically updates this pivot table. And so what you can see is that Roy gets unassisted a lot. David West, Copeland, this is kind of the radio. If you wanted to change this, you can go into design and select this, select a different thing, different look for the chart if you didn't like it. Or you can, I just hit Control Z to reverse it, or you can change your chart type if you want to look at something like this or like this. These are largely the same kind of looks here. The differences are minor. I don't know if there are any other charts or anything like that you'd want to look at. You can pick through them. Anyway, this pretty much allows you to change these things. You can also change the player from here and look at George Hill. You can see another thing that I actually was going to do, and I'll do it now, was position. So what I'm going to do here is map the players by positions. Oops. You can see that I missed. Shift cells up. I'm just fixing some data here. But the interesting thing about mapping by position is you can maybe see how things go. So let's say, for example, Hill, Price, and Watson are your point guards. So you do that. Then you can say, then I can map, for example, I can map this and say that LeBoy Allen, David West, Scola, Whittington, Hibbert, and Mahinmi. Those guys are your bigs. Then I can come back here and say Cope and Rudej are stretch. And then Miles and Stuckey, these guys are your wings. Although Stuckey, strictly speaking, I consider a shooting guard and not a full wing. And then I forgot to put Sloan in as a point guard. What that does is that allows you, if you want to look at it by position. So within this, analyze field list. Okay, you get your field list in. I'm going to say this will be in the saved file. All this stuff will be saved, but you can pull in position. And so if you wanted to do position instead of player, and then you can select, for example, the bigs, the point guards. And if you look at the point guards, now you see that the point guards are mostly, these guys primarily shoot unassisted. That's not surprising. They control the ball a lot. But if you swing it over to the wings, then that becomes, you see more assists there. And then, within that, you can pull in player, and that's part of the problem. I didn't realize that was there, so let's go back and look at the wings again. So my wings look like that, but if I now come in and say, all right, you know what, I want to take Stuckey out of this conversation. I want to just look at Solomon Hill and CJ Miles. Comes a little more assisted. Or I can just get rid of this, get rid of all of my filters, get rid of that guy, and then just come back and say, what does CJ Miles look like? CJ is going to be a guy that is a catch and shoot, so he should be very heavily assisted. You see 50 assists, but then all of these guys, 50 of his 215 shots. The other guys, Rudej is a classic example of an assist guy, of a guy who's going to get. So you can see he's made 83 shots, only 10 of them have been unassisted. Bigs are going to be unassisted on a lot of putbacks, so that would be something worth looking at for synergy. So look at this type of stuff. You also can look at who does the assists. So you can switch this with this and say, okay, let's filter this. Who does George Hill pass to? David West, Roy Hibbert, CJ Miles. Or if you wanted to look and see, all right, what do my unassisted shots look like? Stuckey, Hibbert, Sloan, all the way over to these guys doing less. Okay, so I'm going to switch that back up here and this back down here, and let's just set this on. Let's just set this on David West. Okay, so there's West. You can see West gets a lot of activity. The interesting thing about West is he's been assisted 37 times by Hill, but he's only played about a third of the minutes with Hill. So we save that, and that's what you can do with this file. Okay.